Every human believes they think logically, but logic itself is a fragile illusion. Beneath every argument, there's a silent glitch in the human mind. A shortcut that once helped us survive now twists our reasoning in the modern world. These are the hidden fallacies, traps of thought that shape every debate, every decision. You've seen them online in politics and relationships, even in yourself. A friend who attacks the person instead of the argument, that's ad hominem. A politician who says you're either with us or against us, that's a false dilemma. A headline that blames rain on climate conspiracy, that's false cause. Logical fallacies are not rare. They are everywhere we speak, think, and argue. They twist truth into noise and reason into weapon. Once you start seeing them, you can't unsee them. They crawl inside every conversation disguised as confidence and passion. Sometimes they win arguments, but they always destroy understanding. Because logic without truth is just noise wearing a suit. These fallacies are the fingerprints of our mental flaws. From emotion to tradition, from culture to ego, they are the ghosts haunting our logic. Today we'll uncover the 40 faces of false reasoning, the anatomy of error itself. Prepare to descend into the labyrinth of thought, where every belief hides a broken mirror. This is Logical Fallacies Explained. And what you'll learn here might change the way you think about thinking itself. Every debate begins with a claim, and sometimes ends with an insult. When logic fails, ego steps in wearing the mask of reason. The first illusion, ad hominem, attacking the person instead of the point. Instead of refuting the argument, we go for the throat-questioning character, not content. You're wrong because you're stupid sounds absurd, yet it rules social media. This fallacy thrives in politics, where destroying the speaker feels easier than disproving the speech. The next trick, the straw man, the art of defeating what no one ever said. We twist our opponent's words, then heroically destroy the version we invented. It's a duel against a shadow, and somehow we always win. Then comes the loaded question, where the trap hides inside the sentence itself. Have you stopped lying? Can't be answered without losing. Every reply confirms guilt because the question was never honest to begin with. Quoque, or the hypocrisy fallacy, shifts focus from truth to behavior. You did it too becomes a weapon of deflection, not defense. It confuses moral failure with logical failure, as if integrity could substitute for evidence. Then there's the false dilemma, forcing complex reality into a simple yes or no. You're either with us or against us. No middle ground, no nuance, no truth. It's how leaders build loyalty and how reason quietly dies. Together, these fallacies form the arsenal of manipulation, attack, twist, trap, deflect, divide. They win arguments, but they murder understanding. And when debate becomes theatre, logic is no longer the audience, it's the victim. These are the weapons of the rhetorical war, and recognizing them is the first act of defense. Logic can deceive just as easily as it can reveal. The human mind loves shortcuts even when they lead off a cliff. The slippery slope begins when one small step is mistaken for a fatal fall. If we allow this, everything will collapse, they say. Yet the evidence never comes. Fear replaces proof, and the argument slides downward into chaos. Circular reasoning traps us in a mental loop where the answer hides inside the question. It's true because it's true becomes the invisible cage of our own thoughts. The false cause fallacy turns coincidence into destiny. Two events align and suddenly we invent a story that binds them forever. Correlation dresses up as causation, wearing the mask of science. Appeal to ignorance thrives in the dark. No proof against it becomes proof for it. When knowledge is scarce, speculation becomes our religion. Faulty analogy paints different things in the same color and calls it logic. Just because the rain falls and tears do too, doesn't mean the sky's crying. Post hoc reasoning turns time itself into a trickster, mistaking sequence for cause. Superstition was the world's first science and its most enduring illusion. In deceptive reasoning, we become magicians conjuring meaning from coincidence. We crave certainty even when the math doesn't add up. The illusion of logic comforts us more than truth ever could. And so we worship reason, but often without understanding it. The fallacies that deceive us most are not in the argument, but in the mirror. Emotion is the oldest manipulator in human history. Long before logic, fear, and desire decided what we believed. The appeal to emotion turns arguments into theatre where feelings play the role of evidence. If you cared, you'd agree, whispers the manipulator. Tears become proof, and anger becomes truth. The bandwagon fallacy tells us that if many believe, it must be right. But popularity is not a compass, it's a crowd moving without a map. In the roar of applause, doubt sounds like betrayal. The confirmation bias builds a comfortable cage. We only see what we already agree with. Each click, each headline becomes another mirror showing our own reflection. The appeal to fear paints monsters where questions should be. It replaces curiosity with panic and reason with obedience. The appeal to authority disguises hierarchy as truth. He said it, so it must be true becomes the lazy refuge of minds too tired to think. The groupthink illusion feeds on unity, a false peace built on silence. When everyone agrees, it's usually because someone was not allowed to disagree. The halo effect turns beauty, fame, or virtue into blind faith. We trust the glow and forget to question the light. These fallacies don't break logic, they bypass it. They whisper to our instincts and we follow without noticing. And the scariest part? They work even when we know they're working. Because the human mind doesn't want truth, it wants comfort. Not every pattern hides a purpose, but our minds are desperate to find one. The false cause fallacy begins when coincidence feels too meaningful to ignore. We connect rain to bad luck, or sickness to sin, ancient instincts still whispering. The mind draws lines between unrelated dots and then worships the illusion it made. In our need for control, we mistake correlation for fate. Then comes the Nirvana fallacy, where real solutions die in the shadow of perfection. If it's not flawless, we say, then it must be worthless. But perfection is a mirage, and chasing it blinds us to progress. The cherry-picking fallacy grows from the same soil, choosing comfort over complexity. We build our truths from selected evidence, ignoring what doesn't fit our story. Every chart, every quote becomes ammunition in a battle against uncertainty. And so reason turns into religion, where doubt is sin and data is scripture. The fallacy of composition whispers that if one part shines, the whole must glow. But the universe is not so generous, gold dust still clings to dirt. Then the ecological fallacy flips it, assuming what's true of a crowd must be true of each soul. We forget that averages lie and individuals disobey. The Texas sharpshooter takes aim last, drawing the target only after the bullet lands. It's the illusion of precision born from chaos. And the more confident we are, the less likely we are to see the error. Certainty becomes the sweetest poison, the mind's quiet suicide. For in the end, it's not ignorance that blinds us, but conviction. Every false pattern, every perfect plan, every polished truth, all built on sand. Every fallacy we've explored is more than a mistake. It's a mirror to human thinking. These errors aren't just found in books or debates, they live in our daily conversations. When we twist logic to fit our emotions, we don't just fool others, we fool ourselves. From politics to philosophy, every false certainty begins with a small cognitive glitch. It's comforting to believe that truth is simple, that right and wrong are clean lines. But reality doesn't bend to convenience, it bends to reasoning. Logic is not a weapon to win arguments, it's a light meant to reveal. Yet even light can blind if we stare too long, mistaking clarity for truth. The more certain we feel, the more we should doubt our conviction. Fallacies thrive where humility dies. True wisdom doesn't fear being wrong, it learns from the error. Every philosopher, every scientist, every skeptic, they all began with a question. And in that question lies the true power of logic, not to silence, but to understand. The next time you argue, listen for the fallacy whispering behind your words. Because in the end, logic isn't just about being right, it's about seeing clearly.